Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here with more Modern Horizons 2 spoilers. I could have sworn they said they were starting on the 29th, but who cares? So first up, we've got Hall of Heliod's Generosity from actually MH1. I guess there's going to be some MH1 reprints in MH2, except not reprints, they're verbatim prints? Second runs? I don't know, what do you call it when it has the exact same set symbol as MH1, except they made it the old frame, which to this day they claim that's a capital H on Hall. Somebody somewhere in Magic's history saw that as a capital H and said, yep, that font looks perfect, there's no problems with it. And then after 10 to 15 years of people complaining about it, they finally changed it. So anyway, Hall of Heliod's Generosity. So this was only printed one time ever in Modern Horizons 1, of course, and this is the same art, different frame. And the original is $5.99, and currently you can almost pre-order it. I don't know, they have a price listed, but you can't pre-order it. It's kind of weird. At Card Kingdom for $15. They were awfully optimistic about the old frames before, but they seem to get some sales off of them without having to completely tank the price. So, I don't know. Seems a little optimistic to me, just saying. So anyway, you can pay to tap it and put it in enchantment from your graveyard on top of your library. So, you know, decent. Honestly, this is how graveyard recursion should work. You should lose your draw, you should lose a land, and you should lose some mana. Next up, we got another MH1, I'll just say reprint, Universal Automaton. It's a 1/1 for 1 with Changeling, so it is all types, it costs 1, it's generic, it fits in all tribal decks, but unless you got an ETB trigger or a really big boost, do you really want a vanilla 1/1? Next up, a card that's actually in MH2, we've got Prismatic Ending. So we've got Converge on here, which you should not confuse with Convoke. It's 1 white plus X, and then exile target non-land permanent if its mana value is less than or equal to the number of colors of mana spent to cast this spell. So that's extremely difficult to use. It would be funny to get rid of a 0 cost, but other than that. Next up, Fairy Seer, an MH1 reprint, was 35 cents, and they want $5 for it in the retro frame. Oh, good luck with that. So it's a 1/1 for 1 flying fairy wizard, and when it enters the battlefield, you scry 2. How is that a 35-cent card? Fairies are a very obnoxious tribal, and that's a very good card. Well, Uncommon will do that to you. Next up, speaking of that, Squirrel Sanctuary. There are a metric buttload of squirrels in the set, by the way, so hooray. So this regular version is pre-ordering at 25 cents, oh boy. It's a 1-cost enchantment. When a Squirrel Sanctuary enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you may pay 1. If you do, return Squirrel Sanctuary to its owner's hand. Well, I don't remember squirrels having Constellation, but if they did, this would be, like, insane. Next up, Ravenous Squirrel. It's a black-green hybrid. And it's a 1/1, and whenever you sacrifice an artifact or a creature, put a 1/1 counter on Ravenous Squirrel. Nice. And if you pay 3, with both involved there, so you gotta have both available, sacrifice an artifact or creature, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Wow, a sack outlet with a death trigger on the same card for 1. That's actually pretty insane. By the way, I'm like 92% sure that brown squirrels are basically vegetarian, and black squirrels are the ones that eat like grubs and bugs and stuff. So they got that one wrong. Next up, Squirrel Sovereign. So it's a 2-cost 2/2 Squirrel Noble, and of course it's a Lord card. What else would it be? +1/+1 to all squirrels. Kinda wish this was like a 0/4. I mean, they're already so weak, you might as well help them out a little bit. Next up, Squirrel Mob. Now this one actually, with even that artwork, is originally from Odyssey as a rare, and it's probably about a $10 to $12 card. A $12 foil was from Secret Lair, of course, the Squirrel's Secret Lair, and then it was also, with the original frame and everything, from the Mystery Booster / The List. But this version's rated about $5. I guess they're not real confident that Squirrel Tribal will catch on, but this is a double green 3-cost 2/2, non-legendary, and it gets +1/+1 for each other squirrel on the battlefield. So, I mean, this is your go tall while go wide card. Very, very important. Do not underestimate that in a tribal deck. You really do want to go simultaneously tall and wide so that they have less options on how to stop you. Next up, we've got Chatterfang Squirrel General. It's a 3-cost 3/3 legendary creature Squirrel Warrior. I like that artwork. By the way, I'm already hearing that like saying and possibly typing the word Chatterfang on Twitch is getting some kind of censorship brought down upon people because of, well, let's just say the Scunthorpe problem. I'm not going to get into it because it's a spoiler video, not a damn politics video, but just look up the Scunthorpe problem and see if you can solve that puzzle yourself. Just like we'll see if Twitch can solve the problem of women objectifying themselves and others to stupid, impressionable 10 to 12-year-olds while wearing a bikini in a hot tub and pretending to be entertaining or knowing anything about video games. No, they only solve fake problems for 0.0001% of the community. Like this darn squirrel because he has forest walk and we have to stop that. Also, if one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus that many... Could they have worded this any more awkwardly? Wait till you hear what it really does. Double the number and make them all squirrels. There. What they actually wrote was, if one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus that many 1/1 green squirrel tokens are created instead. So it's actually a replacement effect, but they put the instead last, which does not lend itself to easy readability, to say the least. Anyway, if you pay 1 black, sacrifice X squirrels, target creature gets plus X minus X until end of turn. Killer squirrels. Next up, Fractured Sanity. What the hell am I looking at? Isn't this a D&D frame? This looks like pencil drawn. I don't know. This must be something they're doing. I honestly didn't read any of the literature about the set. So this evidently water-damaged card is a 3 cost. It's a sorcery. It says each opponent mills 14 cards. So, yeah, f*** this card. Nobody likes mill. Nobody likes playing with mill. Nobody likes playing against mill. Mill is beyond garbage. It is a way for dumb, immature, stupid 8-year-olds to go, ha ha ha, I won the game in a way I shouldn't. Oh, I'm so random and weird. Oh, how quirky and creative my deck is. That takes absolutely zero thought. I'm just waiting to see if you mill yourself out. How exciting and in-depth of a strategy it is. So anyway, this pile of garbage is cycling 2. I don't know why. And then when you cycle it, each opponent mills 4 cards. Or you can pay 1 more mana and get 10 cards more for it. Who the hell doesn't have 1 more mana? Who doesn't have 3 mana in a damn mill deck? All right, can't wait for this to get banned. This is basically that 5 cost mill half your library, but it costs 3. Next up, Sarah's Emissary. So I guess this is a brand new card. It has flying. It's a 7 cost. It's an angel. Isn't that a higher cost than Sarah herself? Whatever. So when it enters the battlefield, choose a card type. You and creatures you control have protection against the chosen card type. Obviously, you're choosing squirrels. Just kidding. Squirrels isn't a card type. They mean like sorcery, instant, creature, planeswalker. Yeah, I mean, you know, it'd have to be an awfully one-dimensional deck for them to not be able to deal with this. But like, who in their right mind would not choose creature 99% of the time? I mean, unless their deck literally isn't running creatures, they probably are going to try to use creatures to win somehow. And if they can't really do anything to you, that's why like a tribal deck, I mean, at least leave this card itself open to it. I don't know, maybe they thought for 7 that was like a little much. If you're like, oh, instance, well, you don't run a sorcery kill spell, so now, oh, I can't get rid of any of, you know, your creatures, and I can't get rid of the Emissary of Sarah either. You know, would it have been too easy if it's like, well, fine, I'll just use my removal on her first? I don't know. I mean, they could have just given her ward. That would solve a lot of balancing problems. So, neat card. I mean, it simultaneously goes too far while also not going far enough. I think it's just bad card design, but it's interesting. Next up, Break Ties. So it's a 3 cost white, and it has choose one of the following 3 modes. Destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or exile target card from a graveyard, and then reinforce 1. Discard this card, and put a 1/1 counter on target creature. I kind of like that. I mean, if you know it's not useful, I'm a big fan of like cycling. Like, I don't need this. Give me something else, but then drain your mana away a little bit so that you have less options to do in the turn. Well, this is that, except it makes one of your creatures bigger instead of giving you a card. So, I mean, yeah, if you're winning with creatures or you're close or you'd be better catching up with creatures, cool. I almost wish it was like reinforce 2 because it outright costs 3, but you know, whatever. It's a lot of options already. You know, I think you got to really, 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 really not need it to just be like, fine, I'll take 1 single counter. So I really like this. I think, you know, why can't every card in the set be that? That's interesting, fair, balanced. Yeah. Next up, Wonder. So if you build this and then hold it for 10 minutes, you actually win the game. Oh, that's Age of Empires. I'm thinking of the wrong game. So it's a 2/2 for 4 Incarnation with flying. As long as Wonder is in your graveyard and you control an island, creatures you control have flying. So that's actually a Commander 2013 card, and it was in Commander Anthology 1 and 2, believe it or not, and the original Commander set, and Eternal Masters, and Judgment, which I probably should have said first. And a long time ago, it was an F&M foil. Now, even that version's only $4. So you got to bring this in for 4. It does nothing, doesn't match your tribal at all, unless you're running Incarnation tribal. And then you get it killed and also still control an island, and then your creatures all have flying. There's got to be a more direct way to do that in Modern, so I don't know why this needed a reprint. My guess when you see something like this where you're like, well, that's like the 5th, most efficient way to do this. Why would they not just print the better ones? It's usually for draft purposes. Except they've completely lost me because this is a rare. There's no such thing as a rare for draft purposes because you don't count on the rares in a draft. So I don't know what's going on with the inclusion of that card. Next up, we've got a very blurry, that's in some language. Aha, it is Spanish, so it's Ingenious Infiltrator. It has the fairly annoying mechanic ninjutsu, although most of my experience with it is that one stupid merfolk rogue and that stupid rogues deck that's in standard right now. Which, by the way, that isn't ninjutsu because it isn't tribal locked, so it's actually way worse. So, I don't know, whatever. Nobody even plays ninja decks, so I don't know why they included this. But whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Yeah, that probably makes this the best ninjutsu card out there. By the way, Vedalken Ninja, really? The blue guys that sometimes have 5 fingers and sometimes have 4 or 6 or whatever the hell it was. Wizards' official statement on that is, oh yeah, the Vedalken are very slightly different on different planes. No, you accidentally drew them with the wrong number of fingers, and then you just went with it. So yeah, this is pretty powerful, but it's still only a 2/3 for 4. Is that even modern grade? I don't know. So next up, oh, here we go, Sword of Truth and Justice. So you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, it's one of those swords. Wait a minute, that's not one of those swords. That is correct, despite lots of complaints about the swords in the past, and at least one of them, probably 2, being banned from multiple formats, we've got this. Oh yeah, swing the bus back around, we're taking a second shot at it. That should be on a poster right above Mark Rosewater's desk, because that is how he lives his life. Oh, everybody said Companion wouldn't work. A couple years later, we're coming back for it. Oh, everybody said that Infect was the worst thing they've ever seen and quit the game over it. We're coming back around, we're putting it on 1 creature. Oh, everybody hated Storm? Well, might as well every time we stop in Ravnica, redo Storm, plus every 3rd set after that. So yeah, here's some swords again. This one's a 3-drop, so it's actually full colorless. That's kind of bold, considering they have colored artifacts now. So, equipped creature has +2/+2 and has protection from white and blue, because of course it does. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on creature you control, then proliferate. Oh, that's pretty broken. Then equip 2. In a deck that already has proliferate, now you get double protection. It's already bigger. It only costs 3, and you might get extra proliferate triggers for doing nothing and paying nothing. And you might get that every single turn. That's way too much. If this costs 5, I'd be like, okay, that's good. Even with equip 2, I'd be like, whatever. No, 3 is ridiculous. In an existing counter dump deck, this would be insane. This in a Hardened Scales deck, forget about it. I mean, this is just truly, truly insane. By the way, the absolute ass clowns over at Wizards forgot to put Legendary on this card. Oopsies! Next up, Late to Dinner. Oh, is that why you never finished the artwork? So it's a 4-cost sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Create a food token. Because that's a white effect. Generally, when white resurrects something out of the graveyard, it is an extremely small creature. It's like mana cost 2 or less, 3 or less, whatever. This is just wide open. It's literally just the card Resurrect or whatever. Rise from the grave. I don't know. What was the first one in black? I don't even know. And then you create a food, which is... It's not a white effect, but I mean, food was primarily like a green wolf deck. So this is quite possibly the biggest color pie break that we've seen. And then they just threw it in the common slot, like resurrecting some shit for 4, open-ended with no restrictions, not even color locked, not even size locked, is just something to do. Holy shit, Wizards has completely lost it with this card right here. Well, who knows? I haven't played Modern in about 5 years, so maybe there's already a better version of this, but there shouldn't be. So next up, brand new card, we got Spreading Insurrection. It's a 5-cost red sorcery, gain control of target creature. Yeah, that's probably how much that should cost. You don't control until end of turn, okay, untap that creature, okay, it gains haste until end of turn, and then Storm. Fantastic. Storm is a 10 on the Storm scale, I'm pretty sure. And also, they named it after it. But the Storm scale only counts for standard. Oh yeah, so if it's a 10 in standard, it's a 1 in every other four. Shut the f up. For everybody who always says that in my comment section, you are too stupid to leave a comment. Your commenting privileges have been revoked. So yeah, this is ridiculous, but it's a red sorcery that costs 5. How the hell in the least rampy color are you possibly going to get off a second spell? It would be a miracle if you slid a shock in under this. So really, this card just shouldn't exist. It's like I said, it's simultaneously a bad, like hard to pull off dumb card while also being horribly overpowered but unreliable. It just shouldn't exist. There is no upside. So next up, we got a pretty wild card here. It's Lucid Dreams. I think this was meant to help mill players, but it's kind of limited in what it does. So, it's just a 5-cost blue sorcery, draw X cards, where X is the number of card types, not cards, among cards in your graveyard. So, I mean, you can probably expect it to be 2 or 3 pretty reliably in the average deck, but, like, are you really going to hit, like, 5 or 6 like a Tarmogoyf deck? Probably not. Is it worth running a tribal sorcery just to make this work? Probably not. And you know they meant this to be a mill enabler. You know that. I mean, Teferi's Tutelage, that stupid crab or that stupid other crab. Yeah, I mean, none of them are in this set, but, they're trying to kind of, beef up some decks. So they want mill to be tier 1 again, which they're the only people in the entire community who want mill to be tier 1 again. So I don't think this is very good. I mean, if you're just going to draw 3 off it, there are better draw 3s for less mana. Next up, Rise and Shine. It's a 2-cost sorcery. It's a rare. I believe this is a new card, so target non-creature artifact you control becomes a 0/0 artifact creature. Put 4 1/1 counters on each artifact that became a creature this way, and then overload 6. And overload changes it from target to basically all, or the way they say it is each. So if you turn one artifact into a 4/4, basically, you would turn all of your non-creature artifacts into 4/4s. So this is kind of Ensoul Artifact, except, counters. The whole animating artifacts into creatures thing is a big blue thing. Very famous effect, and I think this is one of the better cards to do it. I really do. I mean, it's 2. You could get a 4/4 on turn 2. I mean, just think about it. If there was a blue creature that cost 2, and it was just simply a 4/4 vanilla, that's insane. Now, you do need to have an artifact in play for this to work, and it can't be like a 0-drop Ornithopter, because it says non-creature. So I think they put enough limitations on this to call this an exceptionally good card. Once again, why can't the entire set be this? It's an appropriate cost. It's a hyper powerful card, but with a little bit of a condition, just a little bit of lineup that you need to make this work. You could get a turn 2, but you might not. And then overload late game, you get like immense value out of this. This compared to the overpowered broken garbage that is Dance of the Mance, especially in Standard. That card is just an absolute disgrace, honestly. Whoever designed that and thought, yes, this will be an enjoyable thing for people to do when you still get the ETBs, please, Wizards, fire whoever designed that card. And Doom Foretold. You know it was the same person. So yeah, I love this card. This card is absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, when you mix the word artifact in Modern, people just automatically start having PTSD. Artifact Affinity has been one of the most hated decks since Modern was invented, so, so there's that. So if you want to play artifacts responsibly, play this card. Next up, Torarch's Canticle, which I still don't know who or what Torarch is. So, 4 costs, black sorcery, common, target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a card from it, that player discards that card, then discards another card at random. Harsh, but, once again, that effect definitely should cost 4. Anything that makes your opponent reveal their hand should cost 3 or more mana, period. I mean, they didn't learn from Gitaxian Probe. Or Thoughtseize, which is on a lot of players' top 10 list for the most hated card in Modern. I don't know, I think Blood Moon might have it, but Wizards ain't doing shit about either of them, and my number 1 is Boil. Boil, if you're not familiar, says destroy all islands. It's a red spell. Okay, instead of calling it Boil, they should have called it I'm an enormous asshole, comma, and also I just took this out of my pocket and slipped it into my hand because who the hell would mainboard this? Comma, but yeah, you're f***ed. So anyway, Torarch's Canticle, another way to screw with people's hands. Whatever, it costs 4, who gives a shit. Y próximo tenemos Espada de Morada y Hogar. You know, I had it until that damn H. You know what, I am going to look this up. Alright, we're going to do it live. F it, we'll do it live. I don't quite speak Spanish, but I am extremely fluent in dirty ghetto Spanglish, so here we go. So it's a 3-drop equipped to, the creature that's equipped by this obtains +2/+2 and has protection. It's either over or against. I'm going to say against. So it has protection against green and against white. don't think you needed to say contra again. I don't think that's correct even in Spanish. Okay, siempre. That has two meanings, and it always pisses me off because I never remember the other one. Okay, I guess in context it's each time. So each time that a creature that's equipped by this makes... The hell is daño? I've never heard of that. Well, it's daño de combate, so... Damage? Is that really the word for damage? How did that never come up in the last 8 years? I guess I don't read that many Spanish cards. Anyway, whenever it does combat damage to a player, exile it. The player? We got some pronoun confusion here, and that's not normal in Spanish. Anyway, exile until a creature permanent of the... Is that same is owner? And later discard in your library a card of basic land. I'm going to guess one or two of those words I got wrong. But it's a fun journey. You can't disagree with that. And if you do, eres un maldito y no me importa. Okay, then it's put both cards in the... Oh, what is campo? Battlefield? Yeah, the campo de batalla. Okay, the battlefield. Bajo, is that face down? Well, cara bajo is face down, so is bajo just short for that? Or no, under. It's under. Because cara bajo is face under, not face down. Ha! Anyway, under your... Okay, literally, really? It's literally under your control, and that's how you say it. Really. Anyway, and later... What the hell is a baraja? Oh, I'm wrong about luego. It means soon, not later, because hasta luego means see you soon, not see you later. I've gotten that wrong for like the last 10 years. Maybe they should have made it start with an L. Okay, I'm actually curious after translating like the majority of that, what the actual hell does this card do? This does something with like stealing shit and like exiling it and then like dropping it back into play, or is this kind of like Godsend but better? Okay, let's look up the official translation and see how absolutely f***ed mine was. Alright, pro green white, gotcha, +2/+2, duh. Okay, whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, exile up to one target creature that you own. Okay, so I was close. Then search your library for a basic land card, put both cards onto the battlefield under your control, then shuffle. So you flicker a creature, which, what does that have to do with anything else on the sword? This is clearly a landfall sword. I guess since it's white and green, they wanted a white effect, and they're like, I don't know, flicker? Well, if you could only flicker the creature holding this, guess what just got unequipped? But anyway, you get a land. Okay, so 3-drop +2/+2 equip 2, hit them and get a land. Let me just bring up one of the most underappreciated cards in the history of the game, and oh my god, am I pissed I sold all 52 of them a long time ago, because it's now about $14. Sword of the Animist. Okay, it's a rare from Origins. Best damn card in the set. It's a 2-drop to equip. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and gets no protection from anything. But whenever equipped creature attacks, not deals combat damage, attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. I mean, besides the protection and the bigger boost, that is the better card. So it's a pretty clear choice between them, and that choice is obviously in a landfall deck to run both of them, because why the hell wouldn't you? I should do like an equipment landfall ramp trample deck. A rample trample. That's what I'll call it. So anyway, it's a Sword of Home and Hearth, in case you were wondering. So finally moving on, we've got Bottle Golems. Oh my god, I love that artwork, I like the concept, I love the name, I need this in my life. What does it do? Show it to me. 4 cost 3/3, trample, and when it dies, you gain life equal to its power. Wow, that is underwhelming, but still interesting. So it's a Golem potion hybrid. I don't know, I mean, you start jacking up with swords and stuff, it might work. And then, well, oh, there you go, and then you got the artifact affinity and all that shit. Fit a battle at the bridge, abandoned blue, go black, go full Kaladesh, you got yourself a deck. No idea if it's competitive in Modern, nor do I care, but I absolutely love this card. Next up, Void Mirror, which, boy, if it's a mirror, I'm just saying that Mirage Mirror, whatever the hell it was from a couple sets back, that really set the bar high. I'd say it's underappreciated, but it's currently $10, so apparently somebody appreciated it. So Void Mirror is a 2-drop, and whenever a player casts a spell, if no colored mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. What the f***? Well, I was going to say, oh, so if they're playing colorless, they just lose, but, I mean, you could use colored mana in a colorless deck. Well, we all know what they're targeting with this, right? I mean, Tron. Come on. Plus, honestly, I think maybe Artifact Affinity players might have trouble with this. I don't remember what the mana base looked like for that deck. Well, it's pretty clear what they were targeting with this card, and they failed. Remember when they said that they're getting rid of ultra-specific, deck-specific assassin-level deck hate? Because they said, and I quote, even though I'm paraphrasing, so it's not a quote, "We don't want the winner to be determined by who you just happened by random chance to sit down and play against. Who you got paired up against should not determine the winner. Play skill, play decisions, mulligan decisions, and targeting should be what determines who wins a match. You know, skill instead of luck." That is what Wizards said, and then we get this where they're like, if you're playing artifacts, f*** you. Okay, instead of printing Void Mirror and making everybody sideboard this horseshit, why don't you just do what the original intention clearly with this card was and ban Tron? Everybody hates Tron, everybody hates Mill, everybody hates Elf Tribal. Okay, just take those three and in one fell swoop ban announcement send all three of those decks straight back to hell. Tron players are drooling, knuckle-dragging apes that should probably go play Yu-Gi-Oh! Me get 3 land, me win. Happy me. Learn how to play Magic, you stupid net decking ape. So as much as I love that this shuts down Tron, oh, okay, every other modern deck in the world has to put 4 of these in their sideboard and has to play best of 3 or mainboard it. Sure, everybody's got room in their ultra-tight modern deck. If you're running this as a 4-of, you actually only have a 47% chance of this being in your opening hand. And I think during the average modern game, you have like a 65% of this chance of this card making it to your hand. So that means that one of the 2 games, if you already lost one and you sideboard this in, one of the 2 games that you're going to play to try and get best of 3 is not going to involve this card. So this is an answer to absolutely nothing. It's pretty much just Chalice of the Void, which is, once again, most people's top 10 for most hated card. And oh, what a coincidence, they also put the word Void in it. Isn't that an interesting coincidence? So yeah, this is trash. This is absolute garbage. F this card. But also, f Tron and Affinity players. You know, don't forget that. Don't print answers, Wizards. Print ban announcements. Because I want to run my deck and my sideboard my way, the way that it should be done. Not just, oh, I've got all these little backup cards to stop all this degenerate shit. Nobody should be forced into that. And thankfully, that was the last card. Good, I'm getting the hell out of here. This is like half cards I couldn't give 2 shits about, half cards that are overpowered, pushed, broken, never should have been even conceived of, let alone let through testing. And then the other half, yes, it's 150%, f you, are amazing, inventive, creative, interesting new cards that do interesting things that are appropriately costed and not single-handedly game ending. They might win you the game, but they won't make your opponent just groan and like forfeit on the spot. Okay, that's how you tell if it's a good card or not. So this has got to be the craziest set with the craziest cards I have ever seen since I started playing Magic in 2013. Nothing that I've even heard about, not even canceled products, are even on the same level with the level of crazy in MH2. This is going to be so disruptive to every Eternal format and Modern, it's going to be unreal, and most of the cards don't push it in a good direction. A lot of the really broken cards are very narrow, very specific, just kind of pushing it a little bit further, just a little bit more annoying replacements for other stuff. Little power-ups to make existing Tier 1 decks even worse, especially ones that people already hate, but it's like small steps. The cards from MH1 that were eventually banned were not small steps. So if you want to still hold out hope that this won't be like an absolute demolition charge to Modern, maybe. It might just push it a little bit more in an unhealthy direction, but you know, we don't want that. But it might not just be the tactical nuke that just destroys it forever. You know, like, well, forever, but like the Eldrazi. If they would have left him in, it would have destroyed it forever. That Quark's Thumb Foundry thing or whatever the hell that degenerate shit had to go. You know, they got that one before it caught on. So, I mean, who knows? I don't know what to expect. I honestly couldn't give less of a shit because I haven't played Modern, like I said, in years. So, somebody quite a few years ago stole every single Modern deck I own from my shop, and it was apparently before I had cameras or I just didn't even know what day to look at, couldn't find them. I think I know who it is, and if I can prove it, I am going to make their life a living hell. But yeah, as soon as they were gone, I'm like, well, I got nothing to play with. I put tons of money into it, hundreds of dollars. Fine, f the whole format is going downhill anyway, and well, I was correct. So yeah, couldn't care less about this. Only care about the money, and so far I'm not seeing very valuable cards. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time.